GMC versus Chevy. In the past, I couldn't really tell the difference, but now I can for 2023 because this Canyon has more power, more off-road capability, and there's fewer choices available than the Colorado, which is also brand new. We're reviewing all of the trucks right here on CarGurus, and I'm going to show you all the features inside and out that make this Canyon in its third generation worth considering. The first GMC Canyon came out for the 2005 model year. It lasted for quite some time until 2012 when GMC killed the whole thing. They revived it again for 2015. And now the third gen Canyon and the Chevy Colorado are brand new for 2023, and they're drastically different. When I first walked up to this Canyon, I thought it was the off-road AT4. It's not. It's a Denali. And in the past, that meant that these 20-inch chrome wheels and all the extra chrome on the mirrors and the door handles meant that it was a softer riding, more street-friendly truck. But now every Canyon has all the off-road hardware except for the top AT4X, which goes to another extreme. But here are the specs. 2-inch suspension lift on every trim, so you get 9.6 inches of total clearance. That's 1.5 inches more than the previous generation. The whole truck, well, let me back up so you can see this. It's 10 inches taller than before. It's 10 inches wider than before. These are very big dimensions. It's just about 1 inch longer. The wheelbase is slightly stretched, but this truck is just way more substantial. It's looking like a half-ton truck. This is supposed to be the mid-size segment, but this Canyon, yeah, it's pretty big. And what it does have, I like it. It has all these little special details like these side marker lights, which don't actually function as marker lights. That's what the front headlights do. They're really here because they look cool, and GMC owners liked it on the HD Sierras. Now they're here. They also serve another function. Say if you're backing into a campsite at night, you can see the fenders so you don't crush these guys because they will be expensive and hard to find. In the front, a really nice bisected LEDs on these headlights here that go in between the front and the lower bumper. A nice big chrome grille. It's a nice looking truck. On the AT4X, you get an actual metal skid plate, so this doesn't have it, but the angles, the approach, the departure angles are better than a lot of off-road trucks like the Nissan Frontier. I'm not sure why GMC went in this direction, but I am glad they did. Compared to the previous generation Canyon, this one is just more capable from the start. The Canyon used to have 3 engines. Now it just has one doing double duty. This is a 2.7 liter turbo 4 that has more torque than the outgoing diesel and just as much horsepower as the outgoing V6. It's a pretty hefty engine. I'll show you how it works in a bit, but know that this is the same engine you can get in the Silverado and the Sierra. Those are the light duty 1500 series trucks that are much larger. And if they work so well in those, watch those reviews, they're gonna work extra well in this new Canyon and the sister car, the Chevy Colorado. However, despite it being a 4-cylinder, it does not get better fuel economy. Check out the numbers. That was the outgoing V6, and that's the 4-cylinder. It actually gets a little bit worse on the highway. This is what happens when you put a smaller engine that has to work harder in a heavy vehicle. Now, 4-wheel drive is standard except the base elevation. That's the only way you can get the 2-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. Otherwise, it's all 4-wheel drive, all 8-speed automatic, so the powertrain is significantly upgraded from last year. On the road to giving us a better Canyon, GMC got rid of a few things, namely, all the specifications you could get. As you see it here, this is the only way. Crew cab with the short bed. The smaller extended cab, the longer 6-foot bed, they are no longer options. That might be a deal breaker for some of you, but this really is the most popular body style among mid-sized trucks. That's the way it goes. Now what you see here, 7,700 pounds of towing, that is the same as before, but the payload is up considerably. That's pretty good numbers. Decent for the class. The Denali is significantly less, but either way, these are not meant to be heavy haulers. GMC has given us lots of clever ways to open a tailgate, but now they have more storage within the tailgate itself. Pop open these latches, and voila. No one's really done that before, and it's pretty useful because instead of having this box take up valuable fender space along the sides, you can have it within the tailgate itself, lock it up, and no one knows it's there. The Canyon feels more modern and upscale everywhere you look. In this Denali trim, you're even getting padding here right where the knees are and where your elbows are. In a lot of GM vehicles, these things have been pretty hard, so they've improved on a lot of the touch points. And the rest of the truck, gotta say, it's looking 1,000 times better than before. This is the Canyon, not the Sierra. and yet you'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference inside. The quality is that much better. All the teak wood trim, the toggle switches, the big screens. It looks elegant inside here. And there's a good use of technology and real buttons, except on this side where there's no actual headlight switch. I'll get to that in a moment. But aside from that one frustration, this cabin feels premium, finally. This is the Canyon's 11-inch touchscreen running full Google native. I really like how this works. Not only is it super quick, you get Google Maps built in with very easy POIs. It even handles well, I can't even do it because I don't have an Android phone, but it'll do the swipe motions with the keyboard if you're good at that. Full voice searching from anywhere. Take me to the CarGurus headquarters. The whole system is great. Wireless Apple CarPlay if you want that, and wireless Android Auto. The whole system also has some very cool features that you won't find in a lot of other trucks, including an off-road page where you can just see basically everything at a glance, sensors, roll, exactly where you are with elevation. There's more information here. Kind of cool. However, you can't see these information tiles on the central instrument panel. You can only pick one at a time. For example, if I just want to see the trip or the fuel economy, I have to add to the driver display. GMC says that this was done on purpose. It simplifies things, but I don't like this because now you can't cycle through using the thumb controls on the steering wheel, so there's an extra step involved. But all this information is here at a glance. And the 3D effects are also pretty cool. The digital instrument panel is worth the upgrade. Full screen Google Maps with live traffic, off-road information. Look at all this, it just looks really cool. A simplified view if you don't want anything, and a few more views. This is where tech goes too far. Like Rivian and Tesla, there are no headlight controls on the side or on this new stock. It's actually in the touchscreen, in this little tiny obscure icon that's up there, or by going here, here's all my lighting controls. Yeah, this might seem intuitive now, but when you actually need to use this in a pinch, it's not easy at all. Say, for example, you've left your parking lights on. Car's off. You open the door. Well, now I have to turn the car back on. This is making it very difficult. There's no reason for this, GMC. The seats are pretty snug. It's actually nice bolstering, but I do wish there was some more legroom. There's not much there. The quality's okay, there's a power outlet, some USB ports, but in terms of amenities, you're gonna have to step up even higher to get heated rear seats. The Canyon feels like a car. I keep saying this with brand new pickup trucks, but the more I drive them, the more comfortable I am. These seats are actually really supportive, which in past GMCs they never were. This is just comfortable. The steering has a very light effort. Despite the off-road tires and the suspension lift, it doesn't wander in the lane. It doesn't roll all over the place. It feels composed. Yet another brilliant example of how GM has some of the best chassis engineers in the world, I will say that. GM can mess up a lot of things, particularly when it comes to the interiors, particularly when it comes to vehicles that don't stay in production for very long and they keep killing them, bringing them back. I mean, they did that with the Canyon. It wasn't around for 3 years, and then they realized, hey, people wanted a mid-sized truck. But GMC has brought that back, and in this generation, you can tell they're putting the necessary money, the resources, and development into making not just a good truck, but a great truck. I have not driven the new 2024 Tacoma. I have driven the new Nissan Frontier and the Ford Ranger, all those competitors. And this is pretty darn good. It really is. For a truck that's supposed to be a workhorse, something that you're supposed to mess around with off the road, this one is just so quiet, it's so isolated. You could cruise in this one like a Cadillac. And it's not just the Denali. This is the Denali, so it's got all the nicer trimmings inside. But even if you take that away, the same basic premise remains. I don't miss the 6, not when there's 430 pound-feet of torque. Humping through this truck, it really, really is a good engine. The only bad thing I can say about it is that there's definitely higher noise and vibration coming through in the Canyon than there is in the Sierra and the Silverado. Those are more expensive trucks to start, so there's definitely just more insulation, some noise cancellation that they're putting in. They don't really put in the Canyon. But aside from that, they say it's high output. It truly is. It's only 2.7 liters. This has the low-end grunt of a diesel, and it has the horsepower to match a gas engine. So it kind of is the best of all worlds here. And there's a lot of good response from this 8-speed automatic transmission. Before, you had a 6-speed on a lot of the trims of the Canyon, and the 8-speed was only on the V6, so this is just a better pairing all around. And with pickup trucks, especially turbocharged engines, a lot of the early ones are prone to failure because a lot of the manufacturers are learning how to make them work, how to make them last. GMC talks about this Turbo 4 as if it's a diesel, and diesel engines inherently are built to a stronger standard. They have to. And this one has a lot of forged steel in the crankcase, a lot of ventilation, a lot of cooling, especially for the turbo, so they're claiming that this one's gonna last, and I hope they're right. Considering all the specs on this truck, the towing capacity, the acceleration, this thing really works well. And even though this vehicle is 10 inches wider than before, placing it on a curvy road really isn't difficult. Hardly any roll at all. Really, it could be driving a GMC Atiyeh or a GMC Terrain, any of the car-based crossovers. I certainly, if you close my eyes right now, and I won't, but if I did, I would never think that this was a mid-sized pickup truck with a ladder frame, with a live rear axle. Like, this is very good. I also like that you can hear the little turbo whoosh when you get on the gas. Can't hear it on the video now, but it's satisfying because this will stay in a top gear, and there's enough torque and response from that turbo, very low inertia, spins up very quickly, which makes driving the Canyon not laborious, it's easy. And even without a load in the back, well, the Canyon just holds together. I'm honestly really surprised. This is not how this truck used to drive. It really wasn't. In previous years, I would never have taken a Denali on any sort of rough terrain, but that's not the new Denali, because every version of the Canyon comes with all-terrain. There's mud terrains on the top AT4X, and all of this extra suspension travel, the suspension lift, it makes a noticeable difference. As I was saying before, it doesn't compromise anything on the road and off the road. You might be shaking around on camera a bit, but I can tell you from the driver's seat, it's cushy. I'm not feeling anything. I do hope that GMC doesn't make the Canyon any wider than it is, because 10 inches is big. It truly makes a difference in terms of how it's handling on the road. If it were any wider than this, I would not want to drive it on a narrow trail. So this is just about the maximum where it should be. The 2023 GMC Canyon starts at $36,900. There's 4 trims, and the Denali that I'm driving is not the best one anymore. That's the AT4X, and that starts at $55,000. Mine, with a few options, is $53,990 with destination. The Canyon is now in a crowded market against the Chevy Colorado, Ford Ranger, the Nissan Frontier, and the Toyota Tacoma. The GMC Canyon is a pretty good truck. It's offering a lot more refinement on the road, a lot more standard off-road capability, and I think the single engine is a really good choice for GMC. It's truly making a mark. Is it the absolute best midsize truck? That question's still up in the air. We're gonna test them all, including the new Tacoma. But as it stands now, 54 grand could buy you a GMC Sierra 1500 with a lot more capability. So keep the prices in check if you're looking for a new Canyon, because those are gonna creep up on you pretty hard. For more information, check out CarGurus.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's where these videos live, and we'll see you next time.